right, people, it's me, your money manager, Kumo now. Shares, stocks, equities, they all mean the same thing, so we can use the words interchangeably. Let's learn about investing in stocks. Why do companies list on a stock exchange? What is investing in stocks all about? How do I make money investing in stocks? And how do I get started? Let me start by explaining why companies list on a stock exchange to begin with, in very simple terms. When companies want to raise money for expansion or to invest in technology or to do whatever they want to raise the money for, many options do exist. The first option will be for them to go and raise debt. That is, they go and borrow money from lenders. The second option that would exist is for them to go and raise money or to go and borrow money from investors, and they do that through bonds. So I'll do a different video where I'll talk about bonds. The third option that exists is they can invite private investors to put money into the business in exchange of shares in the company. The fourth option is they can decide to go public. When they go public is now when they list on a stock exchange to raise money from the public investors. Companies list on a stock exchange to raise money. They don't just list for the sake of listing. I hope that you now understand why companies list on a stock exchange. Now that you understand why companies list on a stock exchange, let's try to understand what investing in stocks or shares is all about. Shares of stocks represent a portion of ownership in a company. When you buy stocks in a company, you become a part owner in that company proportionate to the number of shares that you own in the company. Let's give an example with FNB. FNB is a leading commercial bank in Botswana and is listed on a stock exchange. So they've issued over 2 billion shares on a stock exchange. So when you buy shares, when you buy FNB shares, let me give you an example. You buy 10,000 shares. You have bought 10,000 shares out of the 2 billion shares that have been issued by FNB. So you become a tiny owner of FNB because you bought 10,000 shares out of the 2 billion shares that have been issued. I hope that you understand. Now the second question would be, but how do I profit from my ownership in FNB shares? There are two ways of profiting from your ownership in shares. The first one is dividends. Companies generally make profits during the year and they can decide to declare those profits as dividends. So when they declare dividends, what they're essentially doing is they're distributing part of the profits back to the shareholders. Or sometimes they can decide not to, because there are different types of companies. We have what we call value companies. Value companies are big companies, well-established companies with enough cash resources to issue dividends. So from the profits that they make, they always declare dividends. And then we have what we call growth companies. Growth companies, really, they do not declare dividends. What they choose to do is they will retain all of the profits back into the business, so for expansion purposes. So when FNB chooses to declare shares, going back to our example, let's assume that you are an owner of FNB, you own 10,000 shares in FNB. So when FNB chooses to declare dividends, let's say as an example, they declare a dividend of 5 hebe per share. This is how you are going to make money. So the number of shares that you own multiplied by the dividend per share is what you are going to get. So in our example here, it's going to be 5 hebe multiplied by 10,000 shares that you own. You see that really, if you own a very small percentage of shares in a company, you are more likely to get like very small dividends, and sometimes the dividends will go into your account, but you'll not even notice because they'll get lost in the number of transactions in your account because the amount is very insignificant, so you don't even see it. And this is now when you're going to say that this company doesn't pay dividend, I've never received any dividends from this company, because you've missed the transaction, you have not seen it. The second way of making money investing in shares is through what we call capital appreciation. Shares generally, they increase in value over time, over a long period of time. Please underline over a long period of time. But within that period of time, the shares will go through the upwards and the downwards trends. Shares are affected by many things. They're affected by, first, the supply and demand of shares in the market. I mean, if there are more people willing to buy FNB shares than there are more people willing to sell, the share price for FNB is going to go up due to high demand. However, if there are more people willing to sell FNB shares, but there are less people willing to buy, there's less demand, the share price for FNB is more likely to go down. The share price is also affected by many other things driving the economy. It could be economic factors, political factors, global factors, even things like the pandemic. They can affect the price of a share. But in general, the trend is upward. Over a long period of time, the shares are going upwards. So if you decide to sell the shares that you own in FNB at a higher price than where you bought them at, this is how you are going to make your profit. The difference between your selling price and your buying price is your profit. This profit is only realized in paper until you decide to sell, and this profit is what we call capital appreciation profit. So these are the two ways of making money investing in shares. I hope that you understand now how to make money investing in shares. It's as simple as that. Someone can be asking, this is quite interesting and I want to get started investing in shares. How do I get started? So for you to start, you are not going to go to the Botswana Stock Exchange and buy shares. You are going to buy shares through an approved broker, a broker who is acting as a middleman who will be responsible for selling and buying shares on your behalf. We do have a number of approved brokers. The first thing that you need to do is you need to go and open a trading account with the brokers. For you to open a trading account, they will require the standard know your customer documentation, which in Botswana are your identification document, your proof of residence, and also your proof of income. Once you have supplied all these things, you obviously complete some of their documentation. In 3 to 5 days, a trading account will be opened for you and you'll be able to start trading in shares or to start buying and selling shares. Over and above your trading account, your broker will also open another account for you with the Central Securities Depository Botswana. This is the account where your shares are going to be electronically stored. Every month, you're going to receive a statement like the one that I'm sharing here from the Central Securities Depository Botswana, showing your holdings in the different companies that you have invested in. Back in the days, every time you bought shares, you used to be issued with a share certificate, but this is no more. With the advancement of technology, shares are now being electronically stored. For you to get started investing in shares, the minimum number of shares that you have to buy is just 100 shares. You need to place an order with your broker who is going to execute the transaction on your behalf. When they execute the transaction on your behalf, they will show you how much you are going to pay in commissions. Once the transaction has been executed, they will show you the number of shares that you have bought depending on the price that you have bought them at. This is all that it takes to invest in shares. I hope that you'll find this video insightful and you'll begin your journey investing in shares. However, this is just an introductory video that I've done. I will do a follow-up video where I'm going to share with you the factors or some of the things that you need to look at when selecting companies to invest in. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like for me, leave a comment for me, and please subscribe to my channel. I hope you have enjoyed this video and I will see you again in another video. Thank you.